Welcome to the Atomic Impact Podcast. I'm your host, Jason Osborn. And on this podcast, we interview successful business owners for them to share atomic, impactful lessons that they've learned throughout the course of their business and share them with us so that we can learn from them as well. As always, this show is sponsored by the LinkedIn Reverse Podcast Method, the new way to close deals that doesn't rely on any of the old traditional methods that everybody hates. We use this method to book 26 qualified leads and sales calls in 10 days without any ad spend, outreach, or endless social media posting. To find out more, direct message me on LinkedIn to have a chat. That's Jason A. Osborn. The link to that will be in the show notes below. But on today's show, our special guest is Andrew Frazier. He's the owner of Small Business Pro University, where he provides business advisory services and resources. So thank you so much for being on the show, Andrew. It's a great privilege having you here. And I want to start off with asking you a question that I always love to start off with, which is this. If you somehow had a time machine and were able to start again today in your business, knowing what you know now, what would you do differently in the first 12 months?
Hey, first, Jason, thanks for having me on.
Yeah, man.
That's a great question. Um, Actually, if I went back, I'd probably have started a construction business because there's
Okay, fair
so many
enough.
construction contracts that, I'd be like $100 million business.
Yeah.
But
So
I
just do
love what I
something
do.
completely different then.
Probably something completely different. Not that I don't
Yeah.
love what I do, but I'd have started way earlier and
Yeah.
done something like that.
Yeah. Well, if you look at whether it applies to your current business now, or let's say you did create this construction business, right? Knowing what you know now, what would you do different in the way that you started up and built it and grew it? Like, what are some of the lessons you learned from that?
Well, I think, one of the most important things working with business owners is your most important job is sales and marketing. So,
Mm,
starting out, I would just focused even more time and more energy on
mm,
sales and marketing, but not only that, on building my skills at sales and marketing. And I've been doing this for 17 years, so I've
mm.
developed a lot. But if I could have been better earlier, I'd be even further along.
Yeah. Is there one thing? Because I mean that's a great answer. There's a lot involved, and if anyone listening, whether they're just starting off or whether they've been in business for a while and they're like, I need to really hone in my skills on that. Is there one particular thing that you would recommend focusing in on first?
Um, in the type of business that I'm in, it's all about networking. When you're
Mm,
small, your brand is you, so people need to experience you. So online social media is nice, but for many times to really build a relationship in person is most important.
yeah, I love that. I love that. Which leads me on to a question that I love asking because as people grow and scale, they can often find it harder to be able to close and scale and close deals because sometimes it's not always reliant on them. But what's been one of the hardest parts of growing and scaling your business without being salesy and spammy in what you do?
I think it's a capacity conundrum. It's like, you have managing your cash flow and managing your capacity and managing your sales pipeline all at the same time becomes a challenge because when you're small, everybody has cash flow issues at one time or another, if not all the time, especially if you're growing. So I think definitely um, being able to stay on top of that and figure out how to
Mhm.
do that effectively is biggest challenge of most businesses.
Yeah, yeah. Which leads into another question I always love asking, which is around the relationship building in your business. And one of the things I like to ask is this: what's one thing that you changed in how you build relationships to make the selling process feel easier for you?
Well, one thing that I did that really has been the centerpiece of the success of my business is I created what we call the Power Breakfast, which are
Okay.
events quarterly for entrepreneurs and business owners to come together and learn and build relationships. So been doing those for almost 15 years now, and really met some great people. If I look back now, probably 80% or more of my business is directly or indirectly as a result of that.
Nice.
So, relationships are key, and not only just relationships, but being able to see people and interact with people multiple times. Um, and so I've got people who've been coming over 10 years, and we always
Nice.
have new
Wow.
people all the time. So that's really, um, been a big piece of how we've been able to be so successful.
I love that. I love that. And what's cool about it is you've been doing it for a long time. It's not something you just tried for a couple months. You stuck with it and built that up. That's amazing. That's really powerful. Yeah, nice, nice, man. Well, one of the other things I like to ask Andrew is around challenges in business because we all face them, right? It's kind of inevitable, but oftentimes as business owners, it can be a little bit lonely. We might think we're the only ones that are going through this and all that sort of stuff. And so I kind of like to normalize the challenges and realize as entrepreneurs, we all go through this. So, having said that, what's the number one biggest challenge that you faced in your business so far? And what's the lesson that you've learned from that?
I mean, for my business as well as I've coached, worked one-on-one with over 1,000 business owners. Um, you know, number one is knowing what your most important job is, like I said, sales and marketing. But number two is overcoming your greatest fear. Most people
Mm,
have a fear of numbers and analysis, and you can't really make good decisions if you don't have quantitative information. So I think that's a key area where it's important for business owners to be able to overcome their fear and really embrace it so they can run their business more successfully.
yeah, yeah. Well, I have found that to be very true as well. People oftentimes are afraid of the numbers and digging into that. What do you think causes that? What do you think the reason is for a lot of people?
Well, I think just everybody has different preferences and comfort levels, and many people went into business because they liked what they're doing as opposed to they like numbers and accounting and math. So they just didn't realize how important that was to running a business. And depending on what your educational level is, your comfort level may be more or less. But I just let people know that um, as long as you can add, subtract, multiply, and divide, that's all you need to know how to do. So,
Yeah,
and even if you can't do it, on your own, you can if you can do it with a calculator, you can do everything you need.
yeah,
So I think it's awareness, and just making it easy because a lot of times it seems more daunting than it really is.
yeah, yeah. And I agree with you. I think if you just start off with the small stuff in it, and build it up, it's not actually that daunting. But if all of a sudden you're not doing anything and people start throwing out terms like, CAC and EBITDA and, your LTVs and people are like, what?
Right.
What's all that? And it just becomes really overwhelming. So yeah, it can be an overwhelming thing. But if you just start small, it just becomes you grow into it and you mature into it, don't you?
And they're just definitions,
Yeah.
it's not rocket science. You just look that stuff up or have someone explain it to you, and so
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, if you look over the next 2 to 3 years of your business, what are your goals? What would you like to achieve in the business?
well what I've been doing in this past year, I created what I call the Masterpreneur Growth Assessment, which really takes my Masterpreneur Growth Framework of the 5 steps that you got to take to go from startup to scaling a business, as well as the 5 stages of evolution that you have to evolve through as a leader to move your business through each stage. Um,
Mm,
Created an assessment tool that sort of approaches it the way I approach working with clients, and now it's a tool that can be used online. So my goal now is to license it, and certify people to be able to utilize that in their um, in their advisory services, to be able to support their clients more effectively,
Yeah.
give them a proven framework to work with, and also to support their business development and business growth. Because a lot of times, you know, as the business advisors, generating um, clients can be a challenge. So whatever differentiating factor you have. So my goal is, over the next year and a half to certify 100 people, um, and
Nice.
also license it to three um, organizations that support entrepreneurs and business owners. So that's you know, the future growth area for where we're headed.
I love that. That's amazing. And are you looking to do that just in New Jersey, statewide, around the world? Like, what are your goals with that?
Um, Definitely, we're starting in the region, the Northeast region,
Okay.
uh, and then next year we're probably going to look at it on a national basis, and then the third year on a global basis.
That's
So just
awesome, man.
taking it in stages.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. That's really cool. So basically taking the framework of what you've been really successful in and licensing that out for other people to take that same framework to build out their own businesses and your help support them and grow their business as well.
Yes,
Yeah, I love that, man. That's really cool, Andrew. That's really powerful. That's very cool. So you're looking to start in the Northwest region first and then expand that over the next couple years.
yes.
That's perfect. Man, that's amazing. That's amazing. Well, for people that are looking more to learn more about you and get in touch with you, what's the best way for them to be able to do that?
Definitely my email, Andrew at mysbpro.com, but you can connect with me on LinkedIn, Andrew Frazier, MBA CFA. And of course, our website is www.sbprou.com. And always love to connect with people, and we create great content that you can have access to for free as well.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, I definitely recommend everyone checking out Andrew on the different places that he said, whether it's the site or LinkedIn. Definitely do that. It sounds like, if you need some help in your business to grow, this is an absolute brilliant place to go to for those resources. So, Andrew, thank you so much for being on the show, man. It's been a great privilege having you on.
Well, thank you so much for having me. Great chance to talk to you, and wish you and your audience the best.
Amazing, amazing. Thanks so much, Andrew. And as a reminder for everyone listening, the show is sponsored by the LinkedIn Reverse Podcast Method, the new way to close deals that doesn't rely on any of the old traditional methods that everybody hates. To find out more, direct message me on LinkedIn to have a chat. That's Jason A. Osborn. The link to that will be in the show notes below. And until next episode, stay inspired.